Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. How are you today? Today is May 4th, and if it wasn't for my wonderful, beautiful being of light son, who is 7 years old, I would not be aware of today's significance of May the 4th be with you, which is a reference to Star Wars. I had no idea because I was never a Star Wars fan before this last year when my son began to get into all of the Star Wars movies. And of course, I had to watch them with him. And so now I'm in the loop. Now I know. And oh my goodness, I remember when I was young and the first Star Wars movie came out, and I went to the theater with my sister and to the movie theaters, and she was so into it, and I hated it. I really, literally tuned out. Didn't like anything about it because it all took place in space. And me being an Earth baby, Taurus girl here, always have been quite connected and fascinated by Mother Nature, the flowers, the trees, the grass, the sky, all of that stuff, and really not interested in underwater things or also space things where you cannot see any greenery. So I just completely shut down. I didn't even pay attention. I had no idea what it was all about, except that it was all black and spacey and boring. And now, watching the actual movie with my son, it really opened up a lot of things. And oh my gosh, there's so many connections and so much truth in there. And it's incredible to put the things together now that I have done the work, that I have gone down this path. And I just definitely was not ready for it back then. Obviously I am now, but incredible connections about your life, who you are, the infinite being of light that you are, the force of nature that you are, the power that you have from within, right? And all of these things that were labeled as science fiction when these movies first came out, a lot of that stuff really has truth in it. Yeah, now you're thinking like I'm wacko, maybe. I don't know. I guess you wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you were thinking that way. But incredible, amazing, the using the force, and the force is your life force energy. It is the energy that lives within you. As you know, we are all made out of energy, and it is the force of energy that lives within you that allows us humans living this human experience to move and to do things and to think and to create things and to experience and feel and all of those human things. But the essence of us is that life force, is the force energy, the light within us. Um, so I would, this is not what I was planning on talking about today. So interesting how I am being guided here. For those of you who are new to the show, I usually just open up, close my eyes, and begin speaking as these words are being transmitted through me so that you can hear them and so that the message can be conveyed. And so I had gotten a message as to like what today was going to be about. And now that I'm speaking and I'm hearing myself speak, I'm like, that is not what I thought we were going to do. So really interesting. Just allow it to integrate within you and allow yourself to receive this message as there's a lot more coming here. Okay, now coming into the original message that I heard before I started recording this, which is every single thought, desire that or thing that you imagine that you would want to do on this earth as a human being and experience is yours for the taking. And what that means is that it is possible. So if you're dreaming of being rich and living in a mansion and having these beautiful cars, it's there for you. And you're like, what? Well, I've been dreaming about this since I was little or since I was young, and I've been working my butt off for like X amount of years, and I don't seem to be anywhere near that. And how is that going to happen? And all of these doubts that come in, right, into our heads, keeping us from that which we want. So the universe, the guides are wanting you to know that if the thought and desire comes into your awareness at any point in time, especially if it's the same thought or desire that you've had since you were a child, then it is because number one, it is for you. Number two, it is possible. Number three, it is attainable. And the only thing that is keeping us from what it is that we want and desire to create in this three-dimensional world that we're living is our own thoughts that we can't have it. So on one hand, we are dreaming it. I want to be rich. I want to live in this mansion. I want to have these cars. And I'm going there because it's really materialistic, the dream that I'm painting here for you. And it's something that a lot of us have had, especially as children, as like, oh, that's what I want. And then, of course, we get deeper into what we actually really want or what we actually feel would be satisfying for us. But just showing you this example, because it's so easy to work with things, because you're like, well, that thing that I want, it's not here and I don't see it and I don't see how I can receive it. Therefore, I can't have it. But that I can't have it thought that follows all of this reasoning that you just created is exactly a big lie. A big lie that you have been fed by the ego. The ego is there to protect us, guys. There's nothing wrong with the ego. The ego is amazing, beautiful, wonderful. We love the ego. We're not trying to push it away and tell it to go away. But when the ego is really guiding our thoughts and our actions and preventing us from taking action in the direction of the things that we actually want, then that's when we need to realize that, hey, this is the ego is trying to keep us safe, and now let's just venture out on our own, allow the ego to be there to protect us in the background, but it is now our time and our place to take those steps forward towards the things that we want to create. Almost as if you have children, or if you know anyone who's had children, you are a child. When you leave the home for the first time, let's say you go off to college, or you go off to work, or you just leave the home and have your own place. And it is that part where the parent has to let go finally and let the child figure it out on their own, make the mistakes on their own, and succeed on their own, right? So the parent is the one who has always been, hopefully, protecting you and giving you shelter and giving you all the love and the support and all of those things. And once you leave the home, then you all of a sudden don't have it. You have to fend for yourself. So, but it's a good thing, right? We all agree that that's a good thing, because you don't want to be always dependent on your parents and never taking a chance on your own and following your own dreams and the own things that you want to do in your life. So whether once you left your home, you created a real big mess of your life, or you really think, quote unquote, failed at life and then ended up coming back, that's not the point. The point is that you leave the parents, you leave the security blanket. So here you're leaving the ego and you are taking a chance on you. You're taking steps towards those things that you are wanting to do. Okay, so the ego is the one that keeps you small, the one that says all of those ideas of like, you can't do it, it's not possible, you have to work X amount of years, and work really hard and save all your money and not have any fun for now, and not spend any money in order for you to save enough to have something even close to that beautiful mansion that you are dreaming of. And yeah, that's not possible. That's only for the rich people. That's only for people who have a huge inheritance. There's no one in your family that has money that can leave you an inheritance. And unless you play the lottery and you win, which is also like really not going to happen. That dream of yours is not going to happen. Okay, that's the ego. That's the ego telling you all of these things. And then what happens? You believe it. And once you believe it, you do nothing. You take no action and you keep doing the day-to-day mundane things of your life that keep you feeling like there must be something else. What else is there? I'm kind of bored. Is this all there is to my life? And all of that part that continues to lower your vibration and your frequency, because you're getting bored and you're also getting depressed, and you're also begin to feed more into the belief that you're not good enough to have those things that you're dreaming of. So what the guides want you to know is that those are all lies, and those lies stem from fear. And the fear is, what would happen if I took a chance? What would happen if I took a chance on myself? What would happen if I took a chance and let the ego behind and just began to do the things? What would happen? And so what they want you to do is to really lean into this question. What would happen if I took a chance on me? and began to do the things that I really wanted to do without worrying of the how. And this is a really big one because one of the biggest holes that the ego has on us humans is the how. How will you ever get blah, blah, blah? Right? And then our mind begins to try to figure it out. And of course, we can't. I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with an amazing friend of mine, Jocelyn Kelly Reid. She was on, she had 100K in debt when she started her business. 100K, that's a lot, right? And with her business, that she took a chance on herself. She had a job, by the way. She left the job, took a chance on herself, and started doing all the spiritual work and all of the things that we do once we start going down the rabbit hole. And she figured it out and began the business and began to make money and paid all of her debt and began to actually be 100K on the other side, right? On the positive side. So that's huge. And on that podcast, I'm like, wow, if I had had that type of a debt before I did my spiritual work, I would be like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. That I will never be able to pay that, right? Especially if you have like a regular job from the Matrix, right? Like you got your degree or you got your um, training and you're working whatever job and you have an X amount of money that you get paid each week, and X amount goes towards the bills, X amount goes towards the fund, X amount goes towards the saving, and then there's like barely anything left to pay your debt if you had one. And so yeah, this is how the matrix works. Like it keeps you chained to the I can't do anymore unless I work even harder. And then I'm just going to be like really tired. And then what's the point of living or working, right? And that's the way that we think. But if you go off the matrix, right? Hey, let me take a chance on me. Let me take a chance on that dream or idea that I had since childhood that I really wanted to do. I have no idea how it's going to work, but let me just take a chance. And then once you start doing that, you start getting excited, you start raising your frequency and your vibration. And this is key because once you start doing things that excite you, that you love, you find energy out of nowhere. I know this. I know this from experience because this is how I was before I started on my spiritual journey, where I was like super tired, just doing the things, getting up in the morning, taking care of everything, going to bed at night, super tired, getting up in the morning and repeating the same things. And I was bored and I was depressed and I was like, what is going on? Like I have everything that I thought I wanted, yet that I feel this void, right? That's when I started taking a chance on me. And when I started taking a chance of me, I began to discover who I really was, what I really wanted, those thoughts and ideas that were in the back of my head that my ego kept saying, no, 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 that's not you, and there's nothing, or you're making it up. And then once I started leaning into that, I found energy out of nowhere. If I tell you that my life was the same exact thing, I worked all day, a full-time job. I took care of my son full-time as well. Um, and then where I used to go to bed like 9 o'clock because I was completely exhausted and I had to get up early the next day to start it all over again, I began to find this inner energy, my life force energy, guys, that was feeding my dream. And I would stay up till 11:30, 12 midnight, creating the things that I was creating in my business because it just lit me up. I was on fire. I was learning new things. I was really excited. And so not only did I have this new energy, which came just from the excitement of raising my vibration while I was doing the work. Really important sentence right there. Okay. I was not changing my diet or taking supplements or doing anything like that. I was really just leaning into the excitement of something that was lighting me up, right? I was feeding into the parts of my souls that this is what it wanted to do. And I was finally listening to it. So that's where the energy came from. And then as that energy came, my energy kept rising. My frequency kept rising. And this is key because when you rise your frequency, then you align with other things that are running at the same higher frequency that bring to you more experiences that are loving, that are joyful or exciting for you. See, when you are just doing the day-to-day mundane things and you're dreaming of what it is that you would really like to be having as an experience as a human right now, and you're not leaning into it, you are vibrating at a very low frequency. Those low frequencies are the ones that make you talk about other people, compare yourself to others, be judgmental, feel like, poor me, I am here the, what do you call it, the victim. You start thinking of all of those things and you feed into that energy. And the more that you feed into that energy, the more that that energy brings you more of the same experiences, creating and confirming that, yep, that's all there is. But when you start raising your frequency, then the universe brings you experiences and things that match that higher frequency. This is how your life begins to change in the positive way towards that dream that you have. It doesn't really matter how, because this is how we all get stuck. How is that ever going to happen? You don't have the answers to that. If you had the answers to that, you would be doing it. Right? And you have some answers that you know of, which are the linear way, the way the matrix tells you, like you must do A, B, C, D, E in order to get this if you get chosen or if you are lucky, right? But that's not the way the universe works. The universe works in ways that are magical. They just appear, they just fall on your lap. I know. It's like, if you haven't experienced this, you're like, yeah, that is BS. That doesn't happen. At least to me, maybe to you, you just might be lucky. No, it happens to all of us who choose to do the work and raise our frequency. To all of us who choose to lean into the parts of us that have been wanting to create. You are here on earth to do things, to live, to create, to expand, to experience love and joy. If you're not experiencing these things and you have that dream in the back of your mind, or maybe it's at the front of your mind right now, maybe it's like moving forward and you have no idea how to do it, then here is a very short list of how to get started. Number one, get clear on what it is that you actually want. Perhaps it is a romantic partner, right? And so write it down. Write it down. This is the romantic partner that I'm calling in, and write down every single thing that you want. And I'm not just talking about physical appearances. I'm talking about how that person makes you feel. It's all about the feeling, right? How many times have you had a crush on someone that you've seen from afar and you're like daydreaming about them, and then you get to meet them and they open their mouth and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, I'm so disappointed. It's the energy of how they make you feel. This actually happened to me when I was in college. There was this guy that I was really infatuated with his looks, obviously, because I didn't know anything about him. And this one time I got to walk half a block with him because we're both going in the same direction, and we started talking, and I was like, oh my God, there is nothing there that resonates with me. Nothing that was coming out of his mouth was resonating with me. And it was a complete turn off right there and then. And I had lost all of that time daydreaming about it, right? So how many times have that happened with you? So when you're making your list, write down your list of how you want to be treated, how you want to feel about it. And this is not just about partners, right? This is about, let's go back to the mansion and the car. How is this mansion going to make you feel? And now this is really important, because let's say you're imagining this huge mansion. And every time I say mansion, I see this like gigantic house that must have like 16 bedrooms or something, and balconies and things. And as I'm looking at this, this is not my dream. Okay, so this is why it feels this way to me, but it's coming up for a reason. So as I see this and I see myself entering this place, the first thing that comes to my mind is, how am I going to fill all of these rooms, right? Like, that's a lot of furniture that I have to fill because there's so many rooms, right? Now, if I can afford and have this beautiful, gigantic, gorgeous mansion, then affording the furniture for it should not be a problem, right? It goes with it. But here comes the next part. I'm going to have people cleaning this, like full time, because there are so many rooms. Right now, I have someone who comes and helps me clean my home every other week, right? And my home is about 1,500 square feet. So now I'm imagining this mansion, and as I see myself entering this mansion, my energy actually contracts. That's not my dream, guys. Maybe it's yours. But for me, my energy is contracting. It's like, yeah, I don't think I really want this, right? So this is important when I tell you to write down exactly how things make you feel, because you may have like, oh, I want this huge, beautiful mansion. I want a Rolls Royce outside. And that's the dream that perhaps you've had since you were a child. But now, once you start writing about it, describing it, where it is, how big it is, what color is it, what kind of gardens are there, who are you living in this home with, what kind of furniture is in there, right? What does the kitchen look like, who's cooking in this kitchen, all of these things, right? You start narrowing it down, what kind of experience you will be living in this home, in this mansion, if that was your dream. And as you're doing it, you will discover whether you actually want that or not, right? It might feel too much. Like for me, it feels like contractor. Like, what would I do in this gigantic home? Like, I don't think I know enough people that I could even bring to invite to fill all these homes, right? Like, this is how I'm feeling right now. But perhaps you want to be like really famous and you will need all of these rooms to fill them up with your friends and have parties and all of that stuff, right? So dream the dream up completely. Write down the experience that you would have while living there. Bring the entire dream to life. What does the mansion look like? What place in the world is it? Who's living there? Who maintains it? What does each room look like? How does it feel walking around these rooms? How does it feel in the winter? How does it feel in the summer? All of these things to see if it really actually feels like this is the dream that you want, right? And then as you're doing this, you're going to get really clear on what you want. Once you have that clarity, right? So as you're doing this, you might cross things out, you might add things, you might change your mind completely. Then hold on to that frequency of the feeling of how good it feels, right? You don't want to feel contracted like I'm feeling, because that's not going to do anything. You're going to just hold on to the feeling, the excitement, the bliss, the joy that you have living there. And then you don't worry about the how. You just keep holding this vision of how you feel being there. And then the universe will bring it to you in a way that you would have never guessed. So I mentioned a couple of ways right now of how that could happen, right? It could be that you land the job that pays you that much. It could be that you get an inheritance. It could be that you meet somebody who comes with a home, right? It could be that you win the lottery. Okay, so these are all very linear ways of thinking. The way that the universe delivers are ways that are incredibly out there. Like, yeah, that's impossible. I can't even think about it right now. That's the way, right? And I'm giving you an example because they're giving me an example, such as getting a job offer to go house sit this home in a different country and get paid for it. How does it get any better than that? What? How would that come about, right? Okay, they just gave me that. So this is how the universe works. And you're saying, yeah, but that's not me living in the house. No, that is you living in the house. Well, that's not me owning the house. Okay, well, don't worry about that. You are creating the feeling of being in this home and what the experience it brings you by being there, right? And once you have that and you're there and living it, then perhaps if the dream was to own it and to be the homeowner of this home, then you continue to like, okay, well, how does it feel if this home was actually mine? How does it, right? And then the universe delivers the next part. Does that make sense? I hope it's making sense. All right. So what the guys really want you to do is not to give up, to push the ego aside for a little bit. Treat the ego like your parents when you left home, right? When you left home and you were on your own, doesn't mean you hated your parents or didn't want to see them again. They're there. They're always there for support. They're always there if you need help. They're always there, hopefully, right? They're always there if you want to go back. But right now, take a chance on you, because that thought, that idea, that dream that you have has been given to you so that you can realize it, so that you can live it. It has not been given to you as a dream, and that's all there is. So you can feel bad for yourself that you don't have it. No, it's there because you actually can have it. You actually can achieve it. You can live that life if you decide to give yourself a chance and take a chance on you. that is the message for today. I hope that this has been really helpful for you. Make that list of what it is that you want so you can get really clear on what you want, and then hold that feeling. How does it feel to be in the space of whatever it is that you want to manifest and create in your life? Okay, do that. Remember, if you have a dream, if you have a thought, if you have an idea, it's because it is for you to realize it. And not only that, here's the next part, which I was about to get off, but they're saying, hey, you forgot about this. So here it goes. It is for you to experience and to share. So it is not just for you, it is there for you because there are other people waiting for you to realize your dream so that they can also benefit from it. Okay. And what they're showing me here is a book. I am actually working on a children's book right now. So excited. I will let you know when that's coming out. And the idea of this book came to me. It's not for me to just write and to maybe sell it and make money. For those of you who know anything about book selling, you don't get rich on this. It's just, you just put it out there and there's like very little income that comes from the sales of books, unless you're like really making it out there, like the Harry Potter books. But so that's not the reason. But the reason that I got the idea is because there are people right now waiting for my story, my children's story, to come out because they will benefit from it. I don't even know who these people are, but that's the way it works. There's always the give and the take. If you have an idea, do it, because there are people waiting for that story, for that idea, for that manifestation that's coming out of your heart so that they can also benefit from it. Okay? So that means it's going to be well received on the other side, so whatever it is, right? Okay, if you have any questions, let me know, send me a message or anything. And I love you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.